A viewer from Laverne wants to talk about transportation. This viewer notes that it's the viewer's understanding that the dedication of sales tax on auto sales, which is used to fund roads and bridge construction, would be canceled or done away with as part of this agreement. If that's true, how did it happen, and how do we fill the transportation hole?
That was part of the governor's plan, was to cancel out the dollars, which were sales. I think we did about half of it
half of it in
the last session. We moved that there, and Senator Gazelka held strong. We continue to fund all of the revenues that we had put in last year. We continue to fund them in this biennium, and I think for citizens, and as well, we're not doing the gas tax at any level, even the crazy 20-cent or the crazy 10-cent in the middle, we're not doing any of those, which is good for our citizens because it's a direct cost to our middle income and our lowest income families, hits them the hardest. So, and again, goes back to I think there's a couple things that have to happen before we would ever consider a gas tax. All revenues that are vehicle related should be applied to roads and bridges. Gets back to that cause. It's not about what people pay. It's about, do you feel you're getting great value? And is a tax collected going towards its intended purpose? And so today we don't know. We have a lot of money, I think $8.9 billion dedicated towards roads and bridges over the next biennium for what we did in 2017-18. And so we don't know if we have enough. We're not even sure that we've got enough bulldozers in the state to spend the money that we've got dedicated. So we're certainly not going to consider a gas tax until all of our funds are dedicated towards the roads and bridges, and we feel that we're getting great value from the Minnesota Department of Transportation. And I think Representative New could tell you about a story that maybe we're not getting great value, or those dollars aren't being spent as wisely as we'd like them to be before we can move and consider any new revenue for roads.
Representative New?
Yeah, I actually think this was a big win. I think I'm really pleased that the Senate Republicans held strong on this one. This is a big deal. I think a 20-cent gas tax increase was unconscionable.
With the inflator. Can't forget the inflator.
Absolutely. I think it was unconscionable. And the Walz administration came out with numbers saying that this was a regressive tax. This was going to hurt low-income Minnesotans more than it was going to hurt anybody else. So I'm really glad they stood strong. They kept the funding mechanisms in place. So to the viewer's question, that sales tax is still dedicated to roads and bridges.
Is that half of the tax revenue that's collected, or is it the whole thing?
It's half. It's half. But I think that was a big win for Minnesotans. So kudos to the GOP Senate for holding strong on that.
And I think it was 7 or 8 cents of that 20. The first 7 or 8 cents would have just been to backfill roads and bridge dollars that the governor wanted to throw back in the general fund.
Well, and then there were another 3 cents for the working families tax credit.
Yeah.
I forget what it was, to offset the regressive nature of the tax.
Yeah.
So that was a real win. But to Senator Cran's point, we want to know that these dollars are being spent wisely. And we had an issue in our county of a $7.2 billion $1 million rest stop. Billion, that would be quite a rest stop.
Yeah.
$7.2 million rest stop. I went and visited yesterday morning, and boy, is this the most beautiful rest stop you've ever seen. But it's just not necessary for a rest stop. And those are trunk highway funds. Right. Those are funds specifically dedicated to our roads and bridges. So to see that money being squandered irresponsibly is certainly alarming, I think, to a lot of Minnesotans. Fortunately, I did get some assurances from Commissioner Anderson Kelleher the other night that she is actually reviewing other projects that are in the works to make sure that doesn't happen again. I'm really pleased to see that the new commissioner recognizes that this actually was a problem, and they're going to make sure it doesn't happen again.
So in terms of transportation, any other issues that have come out of the agreement or the discussions at the end of session that our viewers should know about?
I'm trying to think of the highlights.
Honestly, I mean, this is the problem we have.
Actually,
we just haven't had time to review these bills.
Yeah.
That's our problem
and
right
so,
now.
So I think to go on to the point of trunk highway funds, there is a good piece for taxpayers is that there's money in the budget for a special audit of the Minnesota Department of Transportation, specifically trunk highway user funds. it appears there are millions and millions of dollars of those being siphoned off onto non-road building activities. And so citizens are going to get a great view on where do those dollars, where are they being spent today? Our most expensive two-holer in the state, it was one of those projects. And those are just the few that come to light. Many of the things we don't get to see, or the agency's not forthcoming in sharing actual honest data with us. And so you'll get to see those things. I think in the transportation, I think one of the things we've talked about before is motor vehicle licensing and registration systems.
Yes, this does come up from time to time.
There's a few issues with that. And so that's being addressed, and sadly for citizens, we're gonna have to pay twice again for government. But we don't have a choice. And I think when you look at MNLARS, it's actually the arena that I work in. We knew 2 years ago there was no alternative to keeping this thing running. It should have never been turned on. It wasn't even close to being complete. It wasn't even close to being meeting its business users' needs. One, they didn't ask their business users the needs, and they didn't know what they were. And so it was catastrophic failure. We do agree with Governor Walz that he now at least had it reaffirmed by a series of third-party people in the technology world, that there's no alternative. The only way forward is to scrap what we have. Hundreds of millions of dollars were spent on that program, and that doesn't include the hundreds of millions of dollars in the auto industry, which they've incurred losses, our Department of Motor Vehicle Registration, our deputy registrars. Some of them are struggling to stay open today.
And some of them have closed.
Yeah, and so all of those things are going to add into additional costs to renew your tab fees now, because we have additional fees. If we don't raise those fees, they're going to be, deputy registrars are going to go out of business. It's going to be additional costs to, I think, $55 million is what it's going to take to replace this. We're going to replace it with the company that can do this. So in 2 years, we know we'll have a system that is up and functional. There's going to be some re-engineering of that process. And then we also want to make sure that it meets the needs of everybody, the deputy registrars and citizens. They shouldn't have to spend an extra 20 minutes in line because somebody engineered a process that doesn't work. Your time is money. Every citizen has to go to the state. They don't have an alternative. There's no competitive market out there for them or an alternative to go get their vehicles registered. So, but I do think there will be a long-term savings. The company that they're going to go with is the same one that's providing our driver's license, our new driver's license system. There'll be economies of scale on the support and the annual maintenance of it, and we'll have a system that will be supported and run for the next 20 years at the lowest cost. So I'm not happy that we're going to spend $60 or $70 million more. But we don't have an alternative, but we need something that works for everybody, and this will work.
You know, we don't typically go into individual viewer questions, but we did get, I would say, several questions over the course of the last 3 months or so from viewers who had specific tales of not having been able to get their license for some period of time. And I'm just wondering, is there some process in place to deal with those individuals in particular?
You want to take that one?
Well, honestly, the one thing I would say, if viewers really are struggling with that, contact your legislators. Yeah. Mm-hmm. You know, I mean, I get very frustrated actually that we sometimes have more success with dealing with the departments and getting this stuff done than citizens should, because guess what? Every Minnesotan should have the same access to the departments that we do. I find that really disturbing, actually. I don't like that part of it. However, the reality is that we might actually be able to help move that along. So if there are situations where folks have specific problems that they've had, I would encourage them to reach out to their legislators and let us do some digging and see if we can help. Now, we can't always help. Mm-hmm. There isn't always a good solution for us, but sometimes there is. Yeah. And I know Senator Cran and myself and our colleagues would be more than happy to work on that.
I believe that the only thing that's still sitting out there that's kind of in a backlog is there's still thousands of motor vehicle registrations that have no solution. Mm-hmm. So there are some that have had a vehicle for 2 years and don't have a title. And so there will be one more release in the motor vehicle registration system. Let's hope that any of those titles get resolved, or some of them get resolved. But it's unfortunate that we're in this situation, but we have no choice. But as it stands, it will go through June in the next release in the MNLARS, and then it will be on maintenance mode throughout its replacement cycle. But the new system won't be turned on until it's completely ready, and the old system won't be turned off or jettisoned until everything's right. And so confident it'll be right this time.